All right, so thank you again for joining me at the Well Actually podcast. Like I said before, this is a very special episode. We have our first guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Peace and love to everybody out there. My name is Juwon, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so like I said, when I wanted to start this podcast, my intention was that it would be conversations with friends, most importantly, and I didn't just want it to be me talking over and over again, but these things happen based on logistics and how everyone's schedules bear out. We can't always get these things done the way we want to, and of course, there's also equipment issues. I just had one microphone this whole time, but let's not even worry about that. So anyway, Juwon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So yeah, I wanted my first guest to be one of my day ones, someone that I've known for a very long time. And first of all, how long have we actually known each other? Like, when did we actually meet?
I think 2001, right? Because I know I got to America in 2000. I don't think we met the first year, and I think we met most likely 2001 in church.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it's
18 years.
Yeah. So wow. So we've known each other longer than we have.
Longer than a lot of rappers nowadays.
Exactly. So, and then you grew up in Ibadan as well. So it's like our paths might have actually crossed in Ibadan, but and you went to
Nickdale College.
You went to Nickdale. I went to ISI.
That's true.
So like there's some parallels there as well. So another thing where there's like a similar path with us is I started this podcast right around the time you started your YouTube page, and that's something that I also wanted to talk to you about. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
Sounds good.
All right. So, but usually with the podcast, we go into the news and notes. All right. So for the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the NBA free agency. Like, it's been really crazy, and I guess a lot of the action has died down now. But I wanted to get your take on a lot of the news, a lot of the player movement. Which team do you think has improved the best, and what deal was most surprising to you?
Okay, so to be honest, right, yes, you've known me for a long time, which means you know that I don't know too much about sports. However, what I think they tried to do this time is, I think if you look at last season, right, so I just started watching NBA only a few years ago, and a few of my friends know the reason why I actually started getting into sports. But I feel like the reason why they have like maybe at least two superstars in a lot of the teams now is because based on last season, I feel like the teams that got the most views were the teams with like at least two superstars, like Golden State, Lakers, Houston, and OKC, right? And then Toronto. So I feel like now, if you look at the way they split everybody up, now the NBA gets more views as a whole versus just only a handful of teams that have a lot of views for ratings. That's what I think.
So you think like what happened in free agency now is like a correction from the NBA based on trying to get more views for more teams as opposed to it being like restricted to just fewer teams?
Absolutely, I genuinely believe that because I think for sure most people, Golden State probably got the most views out of everybody else, and that's me based on opinion. I don't really have the facts for it. It's probably either Golden State or LeBron's team.
So in a way, you're probably saying like when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, it kind of just ruined everything for everybody else.
I mean, you can say that to an extent, but I am a Golden State fan, so I'm not going to agree to that.
Oh, okay. And this is a recent development, I'm guessing.
This is after Kobe Bryant decided to retire from the Lakers. Yes.
Okay. So before 2014, you were not a Golden State fan.
No. And then also before 2014, I wasn't even watching basketball because I'm a fan. I like the way Kobe and Shaq played. I go for more of the chemistry between the team. So after Kobe retired, right? Kobe and Shaq already split up years ago. After Kobe retired, it was like, okay, what's next, right? Heard about Steph Curry, and I started watching Golden State, and I actually love the chemistry between them. I feel like they play like they're friends, like they play like they're having fun. That's when I actually started watching them. So for like the last 3 seasons, I can say that I watched probably 90% of their games. Like I actually make sure I don't miss the games.
So it's the chemistry that attributes to them, not the fact that they were winning all the time.
No, it's the chemistry. I think the chemistry helps. Because you can have chemistry and still be trash and still be losing. But they're also good. And also, the fact that I feel like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, they worked their ass off to get to who they are now. It wasn't like they came in first round draft pick or most popular or most expected to be the MVP, whatever it is. I feel like they actually put in the work to become who they are.
All right, so now that Kevin Durant has left the Warriors and Klay Thompson is injured, well, they brought in D'Angelo Russell. So what are your expectations for the Warriors in the upcoming season?
Of course, I'm still a Warriors fan. I'm not going to leave because of Kevin Durant, right? I still think they're going to definitely make the playoffs. That's my opinion. Because one, I believe they still have Steph Curry. They still have Draymond Green. D'Angelo Russell, I saw a few of his games. I think that him and Curry together, I think that could be a good combination. And I think they're probably improving their bench somehow. I think they signed Looney also, right?
Yeah, they re-signed
Looney. So I think they're definitely still going to make the playoffs, and hopefully Klay comes back in the right time. I can for sure still see them in at least a conference final.
Oh, you think they'll make the conference final?
Yes, that's the one before the main final.
Yeah.
Right? All right, yeah. I think
wow.
So. I think so.
Yeah. So you see them as one of the top 2 teams in the West?
Top 4. Okay, but then let's just put them in the top 4.
Top 4.
Top 4.
Okay.
And that's all based on like injuries and if Klay comes back and everything. But I definitely think like people are looking at them like they don't have like the weight and height. But you know, they still won 74 games without KD, right? 74 or 72. 73 without KD, right? And that's because they had a very, very good bench.
Yeah, but then in getting these players, they had to give up a lot of their bench too. Like Iguodala's gone, Sean Livingston is gone.
Yep. I think they're cleaning the house some way somehow. I did think that Iguodala trade or whatever was a bad idea.
But they had to do it to open up space to get in D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I do for sure believe that they'll still make the playoffs.
All right, so one last question. Well, 2 questions. One question. First question is, who do you think is going to have a better record next year, the Warriors or the Lakers?
Lakers will have what? LeBron,
Anthony Davis.
I was about to say Anthony Hamilton.
Marcus Cousins. Danny Green.
So here's the thing, right? I do think that it's possible. Well, the best record doesn't really mean anything, right? Lakers might have the best record, they might not, and that's because I don't think they have the chemistry yet. Like all those people have not played together yet. They still have to develop the chemistry and be able to function with each other. A lot of stars on one team doesn't mean that they're going to be able to be in sync, right? Golden State still has their backbone, which I think is Draymond Green and Steph Curry. D'Angelo Russell, his play style most likely fits Golden State.
Does it? Because he's seen as like a
ball, right? Yeah, but I think that's going to
player.
switch. I think you're not going to get there and take over Steph Curry, right? And Draymond Green is definitely going to iron that out. So, but I think Lakers might get a better record.
Okay. All right, and then the final question, but it's a bit of a loaded question. What do you think about what Kawhi did in his free agency, going from Toronto to the Clippers?
I think Kawhi is a very fun guy. Honestly, my opinion, man, I think do whatever makes you happy. Like that's my thing. Do whatever makes you happy. I don't really see. I do think that maybe he wanted to go to Toronto, get one ring, or maybe he wanted to go to Toronto to prove himself. Like, okay, y'all know what I'm worth now. Now let me do whatever I want. I don't really see anything too bad in what he did. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, he should have stayed. Do whatever.
Oh no, so I'm not even talking about like loyalty to Toronto or anything like. That's Canada. Nobody gives a damn about that. But what I'm saying is, in his decision making, he basically told the Lakers like, yo, don't make any moves yet. I'm coming. Like,
oh, I didn't know that.
While he was negotiating with the Clippers, so that the Clippers could get Paul George from OKC.
Actually, I don't think that's a bad idea. You got to look at it in terms of jobs, right? You can't turn down a job you don't have, right? You can't turn down a job you don't have. So him still keeping that door open while entertaining somebody on something else, it might look to us like, damn, that's cold. But if you put yourself in his shoes, why would I want to close one door of opportunity when I had not even secured the second one yet? I would do that when it comes to a job.
So what you're telling me is that you're okay with him, like, using false pretenses to hold the other teams. Like, yo, don't make any other arrangements. I'm still considering you. When you know for a fact that his first choice was to go to the Clippers while weakening another team, being OKC, and because when he got Paul George there, Paul George literally just signed a max contract 1 year ago. So he had 3 years left on his.
Okay.
So not only did he mess up the Lakers, Toronto, he also messed up OKC. That's why they ended up having to trade Russell Westbrook as well. Because Westbrook looked around and was like, I'm the only grown up here. Yeah, so.
So, yes. So now when you put it that way, yes, it sounds a little bit bad. But you twisted it a little bit, but at the same time, you were still talking about the same thing, right? But I still don't think it's bad. Because at the end of the day, these teams, they'll do that to players. Like, they'll get rid of you like that. Regardless of how many jump shots you made or whatever, they can still get rid of you. So the players should be able to have the same type of freedom.
Absolutely. So that's what I was trying to like get around to, is like, how do you feel about the concept of loyalty when it comes to players versus teams?
So with that, right, I think there's not that much loyalty nowadays in general in life. There's really not a lot of loyal people out there. But in terms of teams, these owners, I think for the most part, they're trying to capitalize as much as they can. If they have to get rid of you to bring people in to make more money or to save money, they're going to do it. In terms of the loyalty, I think only a few players can actually get away with being loyal, right? Like the Kobe's, the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Curry. Those are the people that they're probably not going to be fired or released from contract because of what they mean to their teams. But I feel like other people are like expendable. So don't be loyal to somebody that's not loyal to you. It's that simple.
All right, I get it. I mean, I'm just a little bitter because I thought he was going to come to the Lakers at some point.
Oh, wait, you're a Lakers fan,
I'm
right?
a LeBron fan.
You're a LeBron fan. So you talking about me with Golden State, but you're following LeBron wherever you
Yeah,
go.
but it's also been that way since 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, Kobe was still in the game. I was still watching Kobe, but hey.
One thing that I'm really sad about is that we never got a Kobe LeBron finals in any season. But
Kobe would have won. Let's not waste time on that.
Well, I mean, the last time Kobe made it to the playoffs, it was being in the first round.
It was already old.
But in 2011, he was already old.
Right now, we're worried about the wrong things.
All right. So we're gonna.
He wasn't in his prime though. Was he in his prime in 2011? He wasn't.
He was in his 15th season? That was his 15th season.
That's definitely not a prime.
What was LeBron doing in his 15th season?
LeBron is a machine.
LeBron's 15th season, he made it to the NBA Finals.
You're right. LeBron is a machine, though. I have to give him that. Actually, honestly, right, a quick thing about LeBron. I didn't really like LeBron that much until I found out the things he was doing outside of NBA.
Like his I Promise Foundation?
Like the schools,
that's
just standing up for black folks, and the whole other things. That's when I actually became a fan. I respect the things that he
so
outside of
that's I'm not before I turn this into a LeBron love fest. Well, I've talked about like his I Promise school on the podcast before, where he's basically it's a public school, but he's providing a lot of funding, because once you provide more than a certain percentage of the funding, it becomes like a charter school. Well, he wanted it to remain a public school so that they would receive a lot of the same benefits from the government as well. And what they did, instead of like getting the most gifted students, was bringing in students who are actually falling behind, or students that have been dubbed as social students, or people that would normally fall through the cracks. And he actually brought them into this school and provided actual job placements and job training for their parents as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's you can check out the old episode. I believe it's called "Charity Begins in School," and you can hear a lot of the specifics on that. All right, so something else that's been in the news lately. Again, this might turn into another like a Beyonce love fest, but I'm just gonna just get your opinion on the new Lion King movie. It's supposed to be live action, is what they're calling it, but it's really just reimagination, because you're not going to get real lions to act out everything. But yeah, so when the movie came out, it was like the largest July opening ever.
Wow.
The largest, yeah.
Who has time for that kind of statistics?
But think about it though, like when summer blockbusters come out, like May, June, July, and for it to be the largest July opening ever.
It's not far-fetched though, it's us in there.
Yeah, but I mean, but we're only
we know what we're capable of.
But then we're 12% of American population.
Agreed. But then we also watch we consume the most media.
Right. So then, and it's also the 7th highest Disney opening ever. And that's considering Marvel under the Disney umbrella and Star Wars, which is now under the Disney umbrella. Yeah.
Star Wars is big.
Yeah.
But let's consider this though, right? Not to interrupt you, right? But we know in terms of black folks, we know what we're capable of. We know that we spend the most money, right? We know that we consume the most media, right? And we also know that now they've always known. They're aware of what we're worth. So, and even if you look at the whole Little Mermaid thing coming up, I feel like now they're pushing us more, not necessarily because they care about us, but because we're making them money.
So you don't see this as them trying to have more diverse representation. You just see it as dollar signs.
It could be a combination of both, but I think it's more, at the end of the day, it's all about the money.
All right. So, and so one thing that I also wanted to note, like I said, it was the seventh highest opening. One of the movies ahead of it is Black Panther.
I was gonna say that. And Disney owns Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they know what they're doing, but so I think with this it could also be a way of letting the rest of Hollywood know that you put black stories out there, even though I mean it's about lions.
It's on cash.
But it's like a black cast.
Yep.
It's like they
they saw what Black Panther did.
Yeah.
Right? And even if you look at Avengers, right? The last, not the end game, right? The one
Infinity War.
Infinity War. If you look, it came out after Black
right
Panther,
after
right?
Black Panther.
And if you look at that main trailer that they had, it was almost like a Black Panther 2 trailer. Because it was focused on like Juwon, like the chant, like it almost felt like we saw y'all came out for Black Panther. We need y'all to come out.
They definitely coasted off of the Black Panther thing, yeah. But yeah, so even Endgame, well, I feel Endgame didn't really do that with Captain Marvel.
What do you mean?
Like because Captain Marvel came out in the Black Panther slot.
Yeah.
So you know they have 3 slots. They have the February, March, then that April, May, and then June. Like Spider-Man came out in the June slot for this one. So they didn't really coast off that one because Captain Marvel kind of got like a little bit of like
it did well.
It did well, but they were sort of giving it this like people were saying she didn't smile enough. Like very very weird characterization of a superhero that she didn't smile a lot. Like, but she was supposed to be a soldier. Like
I think it was just because it was I don't know.
But it could also be like it's a character a lot of people aren't that familiar with. So, but yeah, all right then. So another thing that made a lot of headlines was the soundtrack for. Well, it wasn't really a soundtrack. It was something unofficial, but it was like the gift from Beyonce that featured a lot of like African performers, and we've discussed that previously on the podcast. And honestly, when I listened to that album, I skipped all the American. Like I still haven't heard the Kendrick Lamar song. But yeah, Brown Skin Girl, Jarrett, all the ones with T.Y. and Yemi Alade and all. I've heard those ones. Even the ones with Just Beyonce, I haven't heard those ones. So
I haven't heard it. I only heard the Brown Skin Girl.
Yeah, Brown Skin Girl.
That's only because my little brother played it for me. I haven't really had the time, honestly.
Yeah, and something else that was of note was the fact that Burna Boy was the only one who got like a solo song on the album.
I mean, he's that dude, right?
So then his album African Giant came out recently, and
no problem.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like really feeling him right now, and I think he's on tour right now. So it's like I've been seeing a lot of footage of him at different stops, and
I think he was like the Kimmel show in New York. What's it called? You know, that white
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. So there was another one too. Yeah, he was on 2 shows in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
So wow, so he's been making the rounds then.
Yeah.
And I think he was at so this Afro Nation, something like that. It was in Portugal recently. So he also
performed it?
Yeah, performed it.
Oh, that's dope.
So
that's dope.
And he's apparently he's the one that's like really hot out in the streets right now. Although if you're in New York, you're gonna hear Davido,
of course,
literally every hour, either Fall or If. And oh my God, Hot 97. All you hear is Juwon.
That annoys me, honestly.
Just throughout,
yeah.
That's something else that you're going to hear a lot. But in terms of like widespread, like all over, I think Burna Boy is like he's trying to take control of the rest of the year.
As he should. I think this is definitely his year, and I love his album because it sounds like a grown man album.
Grown man
in terms of just he spoke about things that I feel like matters. And they also cover different aspects. Like in an album, I feel like you can have like a hood song, right? You can have a song that makes sense. Then you can have like a love song or a romantic song, right?
Okay.
And then maybe a party song, right? I feel like his album has all 4 of those.
Oh, so you feel like it was a complete body of work?
I feel like
it wasn't just like turn up music, just jolly.
Yahoo boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's not even get into that. Okay, but no, I get what you're saying. So you feel like there was like a level of maturity shown in this body of work.
Absolutely. And a little bit of history lesson too. If you listen, He gives a little bit of history lesson in there.
Yeah, so that's another thing that people have been talking about, where they feel like he was spitting a lot of facts, like giving people a lot of uncomfortable truths, like something that will make you go like go sit down and think about what he just said. And it's not just Nigerian music, but I feel like a lot of music is lacking that sort of depth. But it's like music means different things to different people, and you can get different things out of it. So it's like depends on your mood. But he gave you something that
think about.
Yeah,
and he did it in a way where it's like it's not boring, right? Like there's some rappers I don't listen to because I don't have time to try to do research on what it is they're talking about or do homework, right?
Okay.
I don't have time for that. Like, but he did it in a way where it's like, okay, maybe I'll look into this, maybe I'll research it, and it still sounded good. It was still a song you can blast.
All right, so it wasn't
just preaching to you.
Right. Okay, that's the word I was. Yeah. So it wasn't preachy. It was like it was still entertaining. Okay. All right. So this seems like a good place to take a break, and then we'll be right back. All right. So that seemed good.
Yeah, that was good. Hopefully the audio comes out good.
All right. So now I can pause this shit. Welcome back to the Well Actually podcast. I'm here with my guest, Juwon. Alright, so what we mentioned before is that I started this podcast right around the time you started your YouTube page, right?
Yes, sir.
So what would you say inspired you to start the YouTube page?
So I think I started becoming more aware of a lot of things. Becoming more aware, and I decided that it's information that I don't want to just share with myself. I want other people to be able to learn or do some unlearning of all the things that they've been kind of programmed to believe, which is not necessarily true. You know, the one thing that I always bring up in my videos is cognitive dissonance, which is when you're met with new information, and because you're so used to the old information, immediately your body's like, nah, get away from this dude, he's lying, run. But a lot of times that's just human nature. You just gotta be able to take maybe 10 seconds, ingest, digest, process what that person is saying, and then it might be true. Or then you do your own research and you move on from there.
Okay, so you're saying you started this page like to share information.
Share information, bring a lot of things to the attention of people. There's a lot of information out there, but if you don't know what to look for, how are you going to find it? So I try to meet people with information because they might not even know that information is out there to begin with.
Alright, so this is as a result of some learning that you've done.
Absolutely. I went through a lot in the past 2 years, right? I did a lot of unlearning, which hurts in the beginning, honestly. If you've ever been down this journey, then I'm sure you can relate. You start finding out a lot of things that you've been, like I said, programmed to believe. And once you start finding out, like, yo, this is not true, it hurts. It kind of breaks your heart a little bit. You got to question a lot of things. You got to question a lot of things. And then I'm like, okay, let me, not just keep this to myself. Let me help some other people. You never know. It might spark something in somebody's mind.
Alright, so I'm subscribed to your YouTube page. That's LL Cool Juwon, right?
Thank you for that. Yes, LL Cool Juwon.
Alright, so and one of the things that first caught my attention was the Killer Mike challenge. I've heard Killer Mike speak on another podcast on, I believe it's Jamel Hill's podcast, and he was like giving voice to the Killer Mike challenge, but I didn't hear about it initially until I saw it on your page. So could you tell the audience a little bit more about the Killer Mike challenge?
Great. So what happened was I watched Trigger Warning. That's the name of the show Killer Mike has. I'm sure it's probably still on Netflix. And pretty much what he tried to do was spend a weekend by only supporting black businesses, right? I mean, in general, honestly, if you're Nigerian, you probably support some form of black business because we get a lot of our groceries or African foods from a black business. But we need to do more than that. So I saw that and I'm like, you know what? Let me start a challenge and see if I can get my friends involved, see if I can get followers involved, random people involved. Just take 2 or 3 days out of your week and only support black businesses.
So the premise is strictly supporting black businesses with your patronage, with your dollars, and it's a way of showing the mic of the black dollar, basically.
Absolutely, because the black dollar is very, very powerful. We're just not putting it in the right hands.
And there was something in one of your videos where it said like the rate at which, or the speed at which the dollar leaves each community. It said something about like the black dollar only stays within the
few hours.
Yeah, within the black community for a few hours.
Yep.
Meanwhile, in other communities, like the Asian community.
A few days.
Yeah. So it's like, is it that we're in such a rush to patronize other people, or is it that we don't want to support each other, or what do you think is the cause for that?
It's a combination of both, right? We've been miseducated as a whole for a long time, right? And unlearning a lot of stuff that has been done, it's not so easy to do. So we don't even know what to do with money when we get it. Like, we're out here trying to buy the things that we technically can't even afford, right? We can buy it, but we can't afford it. It's two different things, right? And then we have to look at, are we trying to support ourselves because of the hate or jealousy or envy that has been brewing, or that has been in the black community for years? And it's not even just in America, even in other countries, right? We don't technically support each other as much as we should. Like, if I have a business, right, or if I own a restaurant, I shouldn't have to tell my friends, I shouldn't even have to forward you a link of the address. You should automatically show up. If you look at Asians, if you look at white folks, like I ask people, right, tell me one time you've heard Asians say support Asian businesses or support white businesses, right? You never hear that because they do it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we must now try to get each other to support each other. And honestly, it makes no sense. Why should I have to tell somebody that looks like me to support me? I shouldn't. It even sounds weird, right? But you go to Asians, you look at where they shop. They shop with themselves. They have their own towns, their own neighborhoods, their own police department, their own like dealerships and everything. They shop, they buy with themselves. Why are we different? If we spend the most money, why are we not putting it in the right hands?
So that's interesting, and it's something to really think about, because when you consider the power of the black dollar, the power of black influence, why can't we use it to support and better ourselves? Even if some of it may trickle out, but how come we're not even saying spend 100% of every single check within the black community, but how come it's so difficult to spend or support within the black community, where it's like every dollar is out of the black community within 6 hours or something like that?
It's less.
Yeah, so it's like, how come? Like, is it that we see black products from a black store as inferior, or what? Like, what do you think factors into that? So,
right. So you can look at it from both angles. One, I don't think we value ourselves. That's an absolute fact. We don't. That's not even the right thing.
so is it each other we don't value, or the products, or just
we don't value ourselves in general. We don't value ourselves. And then you can look at the product. There are people that are going to bring forth a product and think, okay, because you're my friend, I should support you. No. Yes, I can choose to support you, but that could be a one-time thing. But if you bring me something that has a good quality, that's nice, the price is not too high, of course, I feel like you can gain customers. But I feel like some people just put out a product like, oh, people are going to buy it, they're my friends, they'll support me. And it doesn't work that way. So it's a combination of both.
okay? So now you're even saying that even the businesses themselves might not value each other because they're bringing inferior products.
I wouldn't say all of them, but I do know that there are some numbers of businesses that, even down to the customer service, we don't even have that impact.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure you've gone to like, and this is not to cast aspersions on anyone, but if you go to a Caribbean restaurant,
I already knew that's what I was going to say.
You go to a Caribbean restaurant,
They don't want you there.
Customer service is not the strong. Like, the food might be banging, but customer service is
Trash.
exactly okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Listen, I got love for all black people out there. If you know me by now, you know that black people comes first, right? That's what I am right now. That's who I stand for. I support as much black businesses as I can, right? I've even taken trips to Atlanta where when I go for a weekend, I literally only support black businesses, and I have witnesses that can attest to that. But that whole Caribbean restaurants, they don't want you there. Like, you walk in, and it's kind of like, what do you want? Like, there's no hi, no greeting.
We don't have that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's straight up. Like, we don't. I mean, obviously they want you there, but I think it's just their culture. That's how they are. They might seem aggressive, but I think that's just how they are.
I mean, and as Nigerians, we really can't point fingers at anybody when it comes to customer service, because I at some point I feel like Nigerians just don't care about customer service. Like, they feel like they're doing you a favor by selling you something, and it's like, no, like, nah, bro, like, we're doing you the favor if we're really keeping it 100 by patronizing you.
That's true. So let me interrupt you real quick, right? So my younger brother, right, he graduated high school in Nigeria. So one time we went out, he came to America, and we went out before, and he said, why am I so nice to people? Another thing, right? So whenever I'm out now, I try to be nice to people, because you never know, people go through things. So if I'm at a place where somebody needs to attend to me, I say, hey, how are you doing? Right? And I actually just wait until them give a second to actually respond to that. Because most of the time people say, how are you doing? But they don't really care about your response. Right? So I say, how are you doing? How are you really, really doing? You know, and then that's nice. So he caught me being nice to some people, right? And he said, why am I so nice? I'm like, what do you mean? He said that in Nigeria, like, you can go to a store and try to buy something, and the person trying to sell you something would even insult you. So would even insult you. So I thought that was funny, but it's like, how's that going to get us anywhere? If I'm trying to buy from you, you want my money, but you would insult me, or you're not even giving me the proper energy. You're not giving the energy towards me to be in a positive state of mind. But that was just a quick story.
Wow. I mean, I can definitely relate to that. Like, Nigeria is no joke, really.
Yeah, Nigeria is no joke.
All right. So then, something else that I saw on your YouTube page, like you've been doing some crazy shit lately, and recently you went skydiving.
Absolutely. Yes.
Why?
Oh man, why not? Let's look at it that way.
No. Why? Why?
Here's the thing. I've always wanted to. I would skydive. I wouldn't bungee jump because in my mind, I feel like the wind slows you down a little bit and would stop you, even though it really doesn't make any sense. But I just feel like chances of a parachute going bad versus a string, even though it's technically not a string, I just feel like it would be fun, and it was a great experience.
All right. So walk me through the experience from the moment you got to the arena, the field, to the moment you got to the door of the plane, like this, and your concern level each point.
So one, it was a surprise, right? I had no idea. It was a surprise. It was a birthday gift.
Wait, so when you woke up that morning, you did not know
idea.
Did not know you were going skydiving.
I had no idea. It was a surprise. So I got there, right?
Wait, hold on. To whoever may be listening to this podcast, if you feel like you love me and do not surprise me in that way, all right.
Yeah. So thank you for that, right? Obviously, people love me. That's why they wanted to surprise me that way. Yeah, even in the video you were here, and you can see that it was a surprise. So I had no idea. I've always said that I would, but saying that you're going to do something versus actually taking the steps to do it is two different things.
True.
Right? So I was surprised with it, and then I wasn't scared or anything. I wasn't nervous. They make you watch like a 10-minute video talking about pretty much you can die from this. That's pretty much what the video is about.
Oh,
right?
okay. All right. So they're preparing you for your own death.
They're preparing you for your own death, pretty much.
Right.
And then the first time I went, we couldn't jump because the winds weren't cooperating. And you don't want to be in the air, and the wind is telling you shouldn't have done this in the first place. So
wow.
Yeah. So then we had to reschedule and came back. I think maybe 2 or 3 Sundays later. And then
okay. So the time you actually jumped was not the surprise.
Was not the surprise.
Okay.
Was not the surprise.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
because the wind wasn't cooperating, and I'm not gonna risk it. There was this white dude there. He's like, "What if I still wanted to do it, even though the wind is crazy?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're on your own. I'm not gonna do that."
No. Okay. All right. So the second time you went through, so
second time we went through.
Did you have to rewatch the video?
Yes. I don't remember. I think I did, but it's 10 minutes. Not a big deal. I think I did have to rewatch it. And then we were the first person to get there, got there early. So I'm actually gonna host like a trip to go there. People are interested, hit me up on Instagram, LLCoolJWON.
See, I would have gone, but you see, like these skydiving places, they have a weight restriction, and I've been doing hot boy summer, and I've been bulking up, so I'm just over the limit. So otherwise I would have gone, but I'm considering.
Yeah, so I think the weight limit is 210 pounds.
Oh, damn. Oh, no. So I passed that a while ago. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think it's 210 pounds. And they weigh you too, so you can just come in saying...
so you can't even just...
Yeah, they weigh you right before you go in and strap up.
Wow, so you can't even eyeball it. Oh, wow.
So if you're like around 208, 207, don't eat the night before.
Wow.
Or don't stuff yourself the night before.
Okay, alright, so you watch the video that's warning you about your death, and then they weigh you to make sure. Wow.
Yeah, and you sign a bunch of stuff.
Saying that they're not responsible
exactly.
if you
can't
die.
sue, which I get it.
Wow.
But all of that, I still wasn't scared. And then, strapped me up, then we got into the plane. I bought the video package, which I think you definitely should. I literally watch that video like once a day. And I still get the same feeling like, this was a great experience. So then you get in the plane, and then they go up to 10,000 feet. 10,000, I didn't even know it was that high. 10,000 feet, I was still calm all the way through. You can watch the video, you'll see, until that door, the gate or whatever, airplane door opened, that's when things got real.
So what do you mean it got real? Like, what got real for you? Like,
That's
you
when I-
realized you were 10,000 feet up, but it didn't hit, like, you gained new perspective once that door opened.
Yes, because one, I fly a lot, right? So being on the plane that high is not an issue. But when you open the door in the air, that is totally different because you've never been on an airplane and the doors are open. So you never understand just how much wind is up there. So the door opens and my mouth was just wide open. And then the people in front of me went first. And then for a second, I considered not doing it. Literally for 1 second, I considered like, nah.
So what do you think would have happened if you had said nah? Like,
I don't even know. I think obviously they're not gonna just jump you off or just push you out. I don't think so. I think they probably would be like, you sure you want to do this? We'll spend your money, and then they'll probably take you back down. That's what I think. I honestly didn't ask.
This is tandem skydiving. You're not free. Like,
You're not free. They're not gonna push you up and be like, yeah, you good, bro. Pull the chute in 10 seconds.
Yeah, so they're not just saying you figure it out on your own.
Yes, they're not.
Okay. All
But
right.
I don't know if I think you should be able to sign some waiver that says, if I punk out up there, jump anyway because I really, really wanted to do this, but now I'm just a little bit scared. I think that might be nice.
Yeah,
As long as you're signing it off.
Yeah, but you might have some medical issues that they're not aware of, and
I know.
I don't think they want to open themselves up to that.
Yeah, lawsuit.
All right, so another thing that I wanted to discuss with you today is something where we are on totally opposite ends of the spectrum on this, and you're vegan, correct?
Absolutely. Going on. It's been 2 years now. Actually, it's July. We're in August. It's over 2 years. now.
Over 2 years.
Yep.
So I'm at once your target audience and also your most strident opponent on this. So all right. So tell me what made you try, or I don't want to say convert, but like shift to veganism.
So, to keep it simple, there's a lot of poison in the food nowadays. Straight up. That's to make it as simple as possible. But I saw a documentary. I think I forgot the name of the documentary, but it's a very popular one. I'm sure a lot of people that hear this will probably immediately know what I'm talking about. I saw a documentary. Prior to that, I already have people in my life that are vegan or that eat very, very healthy. So it wasn't really that far-fetched. I saw the documentary and I'm like, yes, I'm going vegan. And then I started doing my own research, started doing more readings, and then I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. So I started it. I started seeing changes in myself, changes in my body, and this is something that I've pointed out on my YouTube channel too, is that some people when they go vegan, they say they get more energy or they lose weight. Me, I lost weight. I don't really think I got a lot of energy because in general, I'm a very energetic person. But what I gained was a lot of mental clarity. And I said it before, like the amount of books I've read in the past year or since veganism is more than the books that I read in my entire life combined.
All right. So a little bit earlier, you said there's a lot of poison in our food.
Absolutely.
So could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, so when people hear poison, I feel like they think, okay, poison, like right poison, I'm gonna die. No, poison could be something that's a small percentage, and over time, that's when it actually catches up to you, right? We're in America currently. If you look at the standard American diet, it includes some type of meat. For the most part, it includes some type of meat.
Right.
If you do a little bit of reading or research, you will see that meat takes over 24 hours to leave your body, right? If it takes over 24 hours to leave your body, that means if you're a meat eater, you technically never get rid of all the meat in your body, because if you eat meat today, you're probably going to eat meat twice a day, maybe breakfast and dinner, right? If it takes over 24 hours to leave, by the next morning, you've already consumed more meat. So your body is in a process of always trying to get rid of that, and not in a process of trying to even heal you, because it has to get rid of that first. So the poison could be even down to the sugar that they use. They no longer really use real sugar. Now they have to put on it when they're using real sugar, right? Made with real sugar. They use corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, all of those things that are highly processing are linked to a bunch of diseases like diabetes and so on, right? So a lot of there's even foods in America that's banned in other countries. You can
Wait,
Google,
what?
yes, you can Google foods in America that's banned in other countries. It's crazy. Like a lot of people will know things like that.
Huh.
Yeah, you can Google it, you'll see.
All right. So now, so once you made that decision to go vegan, what are like some of the other than like mental clarity you said you're already a really energetic person and weight loss. Like, so are there any other like benefits that you would say you've like felt, or you think other people may feel if they were to choose this lifestyle?
Absolutely. Well, aside from the mental, so your positives that you might gain from it, it could be the mental clarity, it can be more energy, it can be weight loss, and it can be just you feeling better about yourself. You know, those are 4 things that I feel like people go through, and I feel like try it for a month. You know,
An entire month.
Absolutely. Doing something for a week is nothing, because that whole week your body's still trying to get rid of all the nonsense you've been consuming for years, right? Do it for a month and see how you feel. Like, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die. Do it for a month and see how you feel, and then make your judgment based off of that. If you like the results, then obviously stick with it. If you don't like it, then go back to how you were. But at least give it a fair shot.
All right. So, what do you say to people who feel like a plant-based diet isn't the healthiest thing for your body, because like maybe science, or maybe it's just their natural inclination towards like meat or meat products or dairy or whatever it may be, where they feel like it is incomplete without these things?
Okay, so there's multiple ways you can look at that, right? One, we can look at cognitive dissonance. If I've been eating meat my whole life and somebody comes and tells me, yo, you should be eating only plants, I'm gonna look at them like they're crazy. Because at that moment, I've been eating meat my whole life. I feel like, oh, it's been working out for me, right? So it could be a little bit of ignorance, and it could be a little bit of, and don't be insulted by ignorance. Everybody's ignorant when it comes to something, right? It could be a little bit of ignorance, and then just not knowing enough about it. So when you say plant-based diet is not enough, then I would say do your research, right? Look at it medically, right? Look at the medical aspect of it. A lot of doctors will tell you that if they put patients that are sick on majority of the diseases out there, if they put them on a strict plant-based diet, they always see progress. Always.
So, because the reason why I say that is I have a friend whose mother went vegan, and that was the beginning of her medical issues. So
now, what was the issue?
I didn't want to pry and act like get into specifics of what her mother was going through, but it was like the conversion to veganism was what sort of like opened her up to like medical issues she had never suffered before that.
So here's the thing, right? You can look, whenever I speak, right, I always give people like 2 ways to look at it. Usually prior to a lot of my knowledge or my reading now, I usually will only see things one way. But now I feel like I'm able to kind of give it to people from 2 angles. So you can look at it one way. It could be, yes, she became vegan, and then a lot of things started happening, right? Or it can be all those things were going to happen anyway because she's been consuming meat for so long, and it was just a coincidence that it was the veganism that kind of made it look like, okay, this is why it's happening now.
But isn't that a bit like
convenient to say?
Yeah.
Yes, you can say that's convenient to say, but can she actually say for a fact that this is why? And this is one person versus multiple studies that have been done to show that veganism actually helps a lot of diseases.
Yeah, I see. Now I get that part where it's like one person's reaction as opposed to like a general feel for it. But then there are people who cite that veganism isn't really, well, they feel like it's incomplete. That's the way they are phrasing it or are wording it. It's incomplete because you are not getting the total nutrients that you should be getting. But what you're saying is that what you're getting from this plant-based diet is more than enough for a healthy diet.
Absolutely. And you can, once again, you can look at it for different ways, right? Even if you think about it, right? Let's say we look at the fact that these animals are being slaughtered and they're being raped. Yes, it's rape because a lot of them are raped by other animals just so they can produce more, right?
Wow.
It's true. So even if you look
I got dark very quickly.
even if you look at that, like let's say you have a blank state of mind, you lose your memory, right? And then somebody presents a meal in front of you. They present a meal of some kind of vegetables and fruits, and then another plate they put dead meat on it. Which one are you most likely to eat?
Well, see, one is in its consumable form in the fruits and
even
vegetables.
if the meat is cooked. Even if
Bruh,
it's cooked.
me if I see a wing on it,
But
forget what you heard.
You're going after the wings?
I'm going after the wings.
And if you know that the wings come from an animal that was once living and it was killed, blah, blah, blah. But remember, right, you're thinking from your state of mind currently. I mean, if you were in a blank state of mind. If you hear that, okay, we're giving you fruits and vegetables that was picked from a tree versus an animal that we had to kill, clean out, cook, add a bunch of stuff to it. By the way, the seasoning that y'all use is from what? Herbs, which are from what? Plants.
Bro, it's the circle of life. Like, even these animals, themselves, like, if we weren't around, they'd be killing each other too. Like,
yes. But I mean, okay, you have a point with
like,
that.
we just talked about the Lion King, bro. Like,
yeah, and
you think they were just because Timon and Pumbaa were
but they're
singing?
animals, though.
Yeah. What are we?
Yes, we're animals, but they do not have the same brain capacity as us.
That's
so we should be able to do better.
That's why we're the apex predator. That's why we're the ones.
Eat them anyhow.
That's why we're the ones at the top of the food chain.
Yes, but because we have a different brain capacity. And that's also why we can also do better, right? There are people that are vegans for years, and they look good, feel good. There's a 74-year-old woman on Instagram that looks, I don't know, she's black of course, so you know we age better, right? She looks, I don't know, maybe in her 40s, and she's 74. And her husband, who's around the same age, looks horrible, but he's a meat eater.
I'm not trying to say anybody's poisoning the other person, but
oh, she's purposely poisoning. You got to go first in this relationship.
Somebody might want to look into that. Maybe I'm not like saying she's a suspect or anything.
So here's my thing, right? Like when I speak about veganism, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to convince them. No, simply do your own research and do it from a blank state. Like don't do it from I love meat. Meat tastes good. You know, I'm a meat eater. I'm a meat lover. Whatever you want to call yourself, right? Do it from, okay, let me actually just be, let me not be biased. Let me actually do research and do readings, watch YouTube videos, listen to testimonies and so on, right? And then you go from there. Like always do your own research. Don't even believe what I'm saying. Take your time and do your own research.
So I'm glad that you said that because that's one of the principles that this podcast was founded on. It's not that we're telling you what to think, we're just asking that you do think. So it's like,
good. I like
do your research. Like, even whatever I tell you, like, you don't necessarily even have to believe it on first glance. Like, verify, like, trust but verify. So I get what you're saying in terms of actually like doing the research. So for someone who is probably listening right now and is considering veganism, what would you say are the 5 top things? Well, that would be the hardest things for them to give up.
So, well, I'm guessing that person is a meat lover or an average meat eater, right?
Right.
I'm gonna give you my hardest thing to give up, and then maybe it might be the same. I think the first thing is going to be so let's start over. Mine, the only thing that I miss the most is eggs.
So as a you can't
eat eggs. Nothing from an animal. No dairy, no eggs, milk, cheese.
Yeah.
Fish.
Okay. So this
snail.
Not
Africans. You tell Africans I don't eat meat. They tell you fish. You tell them I don't eat fish. They tell you snail. Even though
so no eggs, no cheese, no milk.
No milk.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah.
I mean, why do you think about it? Let's get on milk, right? Think about it. Why do you still need milk, right? The milk, even the mothers, they produce milk for a certain period of time until that baby is not developed or whatever, and the baby can do on its own. Why are we grown-ass folks still drinking milk? Think about it. Even animals, right? They drink milk until the mother no longer produces milk. They're not looking for peak milk.
Because Frosted Flakes told me I need milk.
Exactly. See, so you've been told what to need.
They told me that I need milk, and they're great. That's what they told me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But no, think about it though. There's different types of milk. Coconut milk, almond milk, hemp seed milk. Different types of milk.
Okay, so those ones are okay.
Yeah, because it comes from plants.
Okay, all right. So I can go with my almond milk or soy milk. Oh yeah. Oh,
maybe not soy milk.
Wait. So what? Is there something wrong with soy milk?
So right, based on my reading, soy is like one of the top GMOs now, also.
Right.
So you probably don't want to.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can do almond milk, coconut milk.
Yeah.
Hemp seed milk is really good.
Hemp seed milk? That sounds like it'll get you high.
It sounds like it because of the word hemp.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm more of an almond milk. Yeah.
Almond milk is good too.
Yeah. So I've been hearing some strange things about soy.
Yeah, I've been blessed with beautiful black women around me that has, put me in the right track.
Okay.
So shout out to the women in my life. Thank you very much.
All right.
Listen to your woman to an extent. Not everything. Sometimes they be tripping.
Please don't get me in trouble. Don't get me in trouble right now. So other than milk,
Oh,
dairy,
yeah, back to, man, we
eggs.
got to track quick.
Mhm.
The only thing that I miss the most is eggs because I'm a breakfast person. I'm sure you know that we used to go to IHOP,
Like
Denny's when we went to Vegas,
yeah.
right? So that's the thing that I miss the most. I don't miss meat at all. And it's crazy because, I mean, I love meat, pause, right? Goat meat, that was my favorite. I'm Nigerian. If you're Nigerian, there's a very good chance you like goat meat. You know? Oh, you didn't like meat like
I
like chicken.
I don't like goat meat specifically.
You like beef?
Yeah.
Beef is hard, man. It's like hard meat.
Goat meat, the way y'all be cooking this shit, like the darkest stuff.
Goat meat is the best meat.
Nah, I'd rather go chicken meat anyway.
Wow.
But like, yeah, but
That's another conversation.
That's another conversation. Chicken definitely for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it depends on what that person likes, though. There are some people that won't go vegan because they love cheese. You know, cheese is an addiction. You got to remember, right? Cheese also is something that produces something in your brain that's sort of like an opioid effect.
Well, I can't remember the last time I had a burger without cheese. Anyway, so
like a burger's a burger without cheese. Technically, it's a hamburger.
Exactly. Yeah. True. But
Yeah.
I just automatically order a cheeseburger as opposed to a hamburger.
Yeah, you get a cheeseburger with no cheese.
Yeah. Did you? This is an aside, but did you hear about the person that went to McDonald's? They had like these like automatic things where you do it through a machine and place your order, and he got I think it was like a cheeseburger without the cheese or the patty, just the bun. And,
Oh no, people have done that.
yeah, and
Yeah, people have done that. I worked at Wendy's a long time ago, right? And people will come to the drive-thru, let me get a cheeseburger with no meat. They'll just want the cheese and the onions and the pickles. Like, what the hell is the point? I just don't understand that. That's boring as hell.
So do you think maybe that person was vegetarian or something, or?
The person just got issues, honestly, man. Like, you can make that at home. You're out here trying to order a cheeseburger deluxe with no meat.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, is there anything else that you wanted to add to that list?
Oh yeah, to the list. So it depends on who they are. If you're a meat lover, you're gonna miss the meat. If you're a cheese lover, you're gonna miss the cheese. With me, I wasn't really that much of a meat lover. The only thing that I miss is eggs because I love breakfast, French toast, pancakes, and all of that. However, you can make those without eggs. You just gotta find a substitute, right? A healthy substitute. You can make it without eggs. It's not a necessity.
All right. So what are some of the, I guess, the foundations for a new vegan diet? Whereas like these are the things where you're probably going to be consuming a lot of once you go vegan.
So here's the thing, right? You have to do your own research. A lot of people will tell you, yeah, consume only carbs. That's the easiest thing to do. It's like, okay, rice, pasta, some pasta that is not made with eggs, right? That's the easiest thing to eat. All you do is just take out the meat, take out the eggs. You know you can eat rice, you can eat a bunch of carbs. Bread, there's some cookies, like Oreos are technically vegan, I think, because it doesn't have milk.
Really?
Right? Yeah, so then they start eating all those nonsense, but then it backfires. So even your friend, right, no disrespect or anything, yes, that person could have been vegan, but what were they eating? If they were Nigerian and they're consuming pounded yam all day, and it's not the yam, it's the processed yam, that can affect you, right? If they're consuming eba, which is what, starch, right? If they're consuming all of those things, and they're still cooking it for no meat, but it's mad oil, they're using canola oil, which was first used for machines during World War II, I think.
Wow.
Right? So there's different ways you can look at it. Canola oil is from Canada. It was used in, I think, World War II or World War I. They actually invented it for war machines before they started trying to now make it edible.
Wow.
Yeah, you can look it up too. Yeah, the CAN, canola, is Canada.
From Canada.
Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, it depends. Like, first things first, man. Do your own research. Do your own research. Empty out your fridge. It's easy for you to be tempted if you still have all those things in your fridge.
My fridge is empty right now.
Because you got noodles.
Yeah.
So empty out your fridge, and you know, it's just try it out, man. I mean, if you're not happy with a lot of things, a few things that's going on, especially maybe on the health aspect, it doesn't hurt to try it out. Try it out. It doesn't work. Hey, go back. At least you can say you tried.
Okay. Because I know like a lot of your food contains mushrooms.
Oh yeah, question, man. It's crazy how we get off track, right? I like that though. You keep me on track. I have a tendency to just be throwing out different things.
Don't worry, this is already the longest podcast.
Longest podcast,
yeah.
right? All right. So the things that you said that they're going to eat more of, right? So you probably in the beginning people they do carbs, right? Then protein, beans, right? Different types of beans. You have chickpeas, which is the best out of all of them, aka garbanzo beans, right? Chickpeas, you have honey beans, black beans, different types of beans. You can get protein from them. You don't necessarily need meat, right? And then those are the top two things that people eat: carbs and protein. But if you want to be more healthy, then you want to look into things like mushrooms. then you want to add some nuts. You want to add a lot of greens like kale, spinach. There's different types of greens out there that you can add. I like mushrooms. If you're looking for like a meat texture, you can look up something called oyster mushrooms. It has like a meat texture. That I use when I cook like my afternoon food. When I cook like F4 or like okra, I use mushrooms instead of meat. So,
Okay.
yeah, it works, man. It works, and I love it. I wouldn't go back.
Like
No, I mean, dude, I was just in Nigeria 2 weeks ago and I didn't eat suya. Can you imagine? I didn't eat suya. I was so proud of myself. Not once did I even get tempted. Like, and if you told me 2 years ago that one day you go to Nigeria and you won't eat suya or eat goat meat, I would have probably slapped you. Like,
I don't do suya.
yeah, you don't know the chicken guy.
Yeah, but I just put the spices. Like, what's the point of eating suya if you're not gonna put the spice on it or whatever? It's just I don't
spice like that. Yeah, you're gonna start sweating everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm still like.
I think you should do it for a month.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Like,
do it for a month.
I would knock on wood, but I would have to be in prison for that to even happen.
And then guess what? When you're in prison, you don't even get like vegan food, man. You get all the poison stuff. Like you get out there eating honey buns and noodles, ramen noodles, the ones in a cup, which is freaking poisonous.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, what's the chances that in prison they'll give you bad food? Like, of course, like
yeah, right.
They
You got a choice.
They don't care about you that much. Anyway.
It'd be nice if they let people bring you food in prison, though. At least that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that are there, one, not everybody did it, right? You know, I think that'd be nice though. Like at least let them get food from outside.
Yeah, and then somebody outside might poison them.
But then you have to approve who's bringing the food. It's not just random strangers.
Yeah, you think all your family want you to stay alive?
Why would they want you to kill?
Bruh, you just said like not everybody who's in there did it. Maybe the person on the outside is the one that actually did it.
So now, but that's what I'm saying. It has to be somebody you trust.
You don't know the person did it. You just got set up, and now they're the ones like putting money on your books because they're guilty. And then they're like, you know what?
Let me get rid of it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Because you could have trusted that person, but they might have said, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. But come on, like that one situation out of.
Yeah, or it's just like someone else tampers with the food. Like,
okay,
you like.
That's true. It opens up a lot more.
Yeah, liability.
But people gonna take that risk though. Come on.
Of course.
You gonna take
bring
that
somebody
risk.
a cheeseburger.
Based on research that I read a while ago, the number one thing that prisoners want to eat is French fries.
Bruh.
French fries. Like that's one of their meals that they request. Like they wish they could eat French fries.
Absolutely, man. Like they say if you buy French fries and the French fries make it home, like
something's wrong with you.
Yes, like if everything makes it home, like.
And that's like one of the most healthiest things for you too.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I still have my cheat weekends where I would eat something like a bagel. You know?
Wait, a bagel is considered a
to me
cheat?
it's considered a cheat. Yeah, a bagel.
That's what I consider healthy. What are you talking about?
I'll still eat like a bagel or but you're not gonna see me eating like meat. You're not gonna see that.
What?
You're not gonna see that. Yeah.
So what about like hot chocolate?
My cheat weekends are like when I eat a lot of carbs.
So that's
like jollof rice, pounded yam, stuff like that. That's like my cheat. For the most part, during the week, I try to be as healthy as possible.
So what you're telling me is what you consider your unhealthy portion of the week is my healthy portion.
No, I mean, hey, if you want to put it that way, yeah.
All right. I appreciate you putting it that way, but it's whatever. I'm just gonna sidestep that. All right.
So like this weekend coming up, you know we going.
Oh
in
yeah,
this weekend.
yes, it's gonna.
You know we going in this weekend.
I
don't want to hear no stories, jollof rice, all of that.
Exactly.
There's no meat.
That's for you.
Yeah, that's for me. Just jollof. I'm in there.
Well, I'm taking extra meat in that case. Like, forget that. Nah. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break here, and then we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Well Actually podcast. Again, I'm joined by my good friend Juwon, and he's about to drop some more knowledge. And it's all right. I'll just let you take it over. Go ahead.
So thank you for the kind introduction or reintroduction. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I was just in Nigeria 2 weeks ago. Obviously, I'm Nigerian. Juwon, right? You know, you're Nigerian. You know it's a Nigerian name, Juwon. For those that aren't Nigerian, but at least you get your point across. I was just there, and I feel like people there are adopting Western cultures and values, and I feel like there's no way that's going to yield a positive outcome. And here's why. Here's what I mean by adopting Western cultures and values, right? The youth, right? The youth that are supposed to be like the future. right? When I was there, I didn't see one young girl with like her natural hair. Maybe I saw one or two, right? We're not talking about braids, right? We're talking about just your natural hair. I didn't see any young girl with like her natural hair. The young girls and young women are idolizing the wrong people from the West, right? The women are wearing all the, the Malaysian hair, all the long extra hair that, even if you do your research, you will see that a lot of these hair is not even from human beings. Like, I'm sorry to break your heart, but not all these hairs is actually from women. Some of them are from animals, which is why, like, you have your head itching, which is why your hair will start breaking and so on and so forth. So the women are not even, they're forgetting our tradition and our values, and they're adopting the West. The men, some of them are sagging their pants, just a lot of things that you would only see out here. They're adopting it. On the opposite side, so we have people in Africa that are forgetting or losing their African self, right? And
so when you say losing their African self, what do you mean?
Right, they're trying to be like the West. They're trying to be like the people here.
So you see them emulating like American or European
standards, cultures, and values.
And you see that as a bad thing?
Absolutely, because America doesn't have the answers. Europe doesn't have the answers. We don't. Like, if you believe they have the answers, look at the rate of obesity, right? Look at mental illness. Look at mass shootings, right? Look at insecurities and depression. Look at all of those things in America. You can't possibly think they have the answers. America is, 200 and something years old, and it's already kind of like on a decline. Versus Africa that has been around for longer. And if you look at our actual history, not our history during colonization, I'm talking about our history, like before that, you will see that we accomplished great things. I mean, up till now, we still have one of the greatest wonders of the world. Up till now, and if you do research on our history, you will see that we accomplished a lot more, but because of colonization, because of slavery, because of miseducation, and a lot of the programming, we have forgotten who we were. And until we start reading, doing our research, connecting to who we were before, I don't see us getting out of the position that we're in.
So what you're saying is, okay, Nigeria, Africa as a whole, we are adopting behaviors and traits of the Western world, which aren't necessarily beneficial to us as a people.
Yes.
So, but I feel like this is kind of like a straw man of, now we're going to just blame all of our ills on what we've gotten from the West. Like, everything that we have naturally is the best thing. But like, look at Nigeria, for instance. Like, recently has become the country with, like, not necessarily just the poorest country, but the country with the most poor people in it, taking over from India, which has almost 10 times Nigeria's population. And I don't think that's a result of the West. That's a result of bad governance from Nigeria's people.
I agree with that, absolutely, right? But we have horrible leaders. We know that. This is an absolute fact. We have horrible leaders. However, you also have to look at it this way. The leaders are only a handful of people. Maybe not a handful, but there's more regular people than there are people that run things. If we educate ourselves and we stop trying to be the West and be distracted by all the nonsense that's going on here, then maybe we can make changes. So yes, you have a lot of poor people, but you also have to look, like I said, like you look at the youth, like they're idolizing people over here. They're doing all of the Snapchatting, all of the makeup all the time, all of the hair, and the men are just doing nonsense. Like, they want to live the flashy lifestyle. Things that they think, like, people in Nigeria, some of them, they think like, oh man, if I get to America, I'm going to be out here balling, making it. It's rough out here too. But they look at it like people out there living just based off of like social media, not even things that they have concrete information on. So if the youth, the people that are supposed to be able to change things, if they're being miseducated, and if they're not even trying to emulate or follow the right people, how are things going to change?
All right, so in your mind, who are these right people that they should be following?
I think we need to gain a knowledge of self. I think we need to know who we were before colonization, who we were before slavery, because we accomplished great things before all of that.
So, not to like sound like a PBS special, but who's in charge of like putting this knowledge forth? Like, if like, as any Nigerian know, like documentation is one of our weakest points in as a society, as a country. So it's like, where are they supposed to get this knowledge? Like, that's why when you mentioned like Burna Boy from his album, like he was spitting a lot of facts that were not like apparent to a lot of people because this is just not what's taught in schools, like to the common person. And it's like, okay, so now if we're supposed to go find this education or find this knowledge, where exactly we're supposed to go? Isn't the government supposed to be in charge of where the education is coming from, what the curriculum is, or what topics are taught, what at least like what is being covered under quote unquote history?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if these people that are first and foremost controlling the money are also controlling the knowledge,
Yeah.
so like what chance do you think the younger generation has at changing anything when like not only are they like at a disadvantage, like the game is rigged, and they're playing two different games essentially.
Mm-hmm. So yes, you have a very good point. So here's my thing with that. I think it has to come from a combination of both. It has to come from people that know better, and also the people that don't know enough to be able to kind of see that information. For example, now this is part of the reason why I have my channel, because I know that if you don't know information is out there, you're not going to know what to look for. It's like Google. If you don't know what to search for, you're not going to get anything. Right? So for us, right, and I only probably know 1% of the information that's out there, right? But that 1%, I can't keep it to myself. And there are a lot of people like me, right? There are a lot of people like me. Yes, there are going to be people like me in Africa too. We cannot mute ourselves. We have to be able to get this information out there, because the more you know, the better you do, right? The people who know, well, a wise man once said this, I forgot exactly who, right? The people who know the least obey the best, right? So the least amount of information you know, you're more likely to be a robot. You're more likely to not be distracted by all the other nonsense. But if you educate yourself, if you start doing a lot more reading, you will start. It's just automatic. You can't know. If you know better, you do better. Let's put it that way. So it must come from people that have the knowledge. They need to put that information out there and not be scared of the government and not be scared of the backlash, because it's bigger than you. Right? The reason why we have some of the freedom that we have now is because people sacrifice themselves for us. Right? It's not just because everybody was like, nah, I'm not going to do this because they might take me out. Nah, I'm not going to do this because they might mute me. Right? It's bigger than you. You have to be able to do it for your children, your children's children, people that are going to come after you. So it's bigger than, you know, like me, right? It is what it is. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm in the right path. I feel like me putting this information out there is changing people's lives here and there. And I even have testimonies from some people. Like, I've helped people go into veganism, help people now be more aware of all the stuff that's going on out there. So to wrap it up, right, I feel like people that have that information, put that information out there. Or the teens that's also coming up, or the youth, don't be so closed up on new information, right? Because it's something that's beneficial to all of us as a whole, or as a people.
I get that. I totally get that. And I've seen some of the testimonials of like comments of people who have either like watched your videos, or like either the comments on Instagram or the comments on the YouTube page. That is LL Cool JUWON on YouTube. And I've seen these myself, so I know what you're talking about. So what you're saying is we as the quote unquote educated people have a responsibility.
Absolutely.
Of putting this information out there.
Absolutely, especially the people with a lot of fans or a lot of followers or viewers, right? If you think about it, like, it's not just about you. I think we have to stop being selfish, right? Some people will have 2,000 followers, and that's nothing compared to what's out here. And they don't do anything but put up a bunch of nonsense. Like, what are you doing to help people? You have 2,000 people's attention, give or take, right? People that might log on or might not log on, right? What are you really doing with that attention? Are you doing something, or you putting the information out there that might help someone? Or are you just feeding them the same nonsense that the media is still feeding them? You know, I feel like, especially the black folks, we get so distracted with all the memes, all the TV shows that's doing nothing but hurting us mentally, right? All the, you know, just all the nonsense that we forget that all of those things is not even making us money, right? Unless if you're part of like Love and Hip Hop or something like that. Yes, the characters are making money, but it's doing black people damage as a whole, right? I just got people distracted. So yeah, I think that people with followers, like, do something with those followers that you have. Right? Even if you get one person to change their life out of that 2,000 followers, that one person might be able to accomplish the same thing, and it's gonna go around like that.
All right, so let's touch on that, like, because I know you said that before about about shows and like how it's a waste of time, but like people who are creators, people who are writers, directors, whatever, I don't feel it's fair saying that what they do is a waste of time just because you're not getting money from it. Like, there are pursuits of art that are like that have their own intrinsic value, where it's like you're not necessarily getting money from it, but it doesn't mean you're not getting value from it. Like you can do certain things just to relax, to wind down, or you can do it just for the appreciation of it.
Okay. So one, I don't think I said it was a waste of time, right? I think I probably said you might be wasting your time doing this, which I think is two different things, right? I think me saying it's a waste of time is me saying what that person did is a waste of time versus me saying you are wasting your time because that's an action that you're taking, right? So here's the thing to clarify that. I have no problem with TV shows and so on, but I feel like if you spend a lot of time doing something on a daily basis, it should be something that benefits you, right? It could be something that not only just like some kind of mental satisfaction, right? I think it's something that benefits you. It's something that should even possibly even make you some money or put you in a better position.
All right. So let me sort of clarify. So you wake up at 6 o'clock. You get ready for work. You have a 1 hour commute to work. You get to work at 8 o'clock. 5 o'clock, you're done at work. You have an hour commute, come back home. So you've essentially spent about 12 hours of your day being hyper productive. So now you get home 7:30. You prepare your dinner, and you sit down in front of the TV. So why shouldn't I be able to spend the next 30, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours or whatever, unwinding, and like, because it's not necessarily like everything has to be a documentary or everything has to be like a Civil War reenactment, or it's like the thing that inspires creativity in others might be seeing the creativity of some. So you might see an idea. So even to what you're saying about, well, it might not be making you money, but it's like you watching something like Shark Tank, or it's like, okay, you see an idea, or it could even be a comedy,
from that.
or it could just be a comedy where you had a shitty day at work and then now you're watching a comedy and you're laughing for the first time all day because Greg just keeps coming to your cubicle talking about shit that you have no concern over, but he won't stop coming to your cubicle, or you have a boss that thinks he's a know-it-all and has made your day miserable. But now you get home and you put on this TV show, and what you're getting from it is levity. You're like, I feel like you just because you're not making money from it doesn't give you value, but the way that it makes you feel
is important.
Can bring value to you.
Okay, I agree with that, right? Absolutely. I like the fact that you brought that up. Yes, there's nothing wrong with watching movies, right? You know I love Marvel and a lot of the movies that they put forward and so on. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't let that be majority of what you do. Okay. So yes, you can indulge in watching movies and TV shows or whatever it is you indulge in, but don't let that be majority of what you do. And you said that, let's say it takes you an hour to go, an hour to come back, 2 hours, right? With that 2 hours, you can learn something new. You can be a podcast like yours, right? Where you have different topics. You can listen to professors, people that have spent decades of their life researching to put information out there for us to be able to do better with. So yes, I can still get home after listening to 2 hours on Anthony Browder, Dr. Henry Clark. A lot of those people, I can spend those 2 hours listening to them, and then I can get home and I go watch Netflix for an hour and go to sleep. It could be balanced. But it doesn't work like that. Not a lot of people are going to put 2 hours or even an hour out of their day to learn something different. Okay, right?
I get that.
And also, let me throw one more thing in there, right? Yes, it's fun. We can say, oh, we want to relax, we want to unwind, we want to watch movies and TV shows. But this is a fact. Black people watch the most media, right? We consume the most media, even down to magazines. And look at where we are economically. Look at where we are in the world, right? So clearly, we're consuming the most of it. It's not doing us any good. So are we just okay with being like the least respected people in the universe? Are we okay with that? Or are we actually willing to, okay, let me sacrifice an hour of Netflix today and learn something? And maybe I can speak about it, maybe I can tell people about it, and then that can kind of trickle down, right? We watch the most media and we're doing the work. So clearly there's some kind of correlation there, because we're picking up television program is literally what it is. Television program. You're being programmed to do a lot of nonsense, right? A wise man once said, television, tell eyes to your vision. Something like that, right? So it's like, we're watching these things, but it's not helping us. You can watch a movie, you can get an idea from it that can make you money, that's fine. But I'm talking about as a whole, not individually.
So what do you feel about like any pursuit? Like, do you feel like a pursuit doesn't have, I don't want to say value, but is it not worth it if it's not bringing you money? Like, isn't the process of doing it its own reward?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I go back and forth with that. But for the most part, I do feel like if you're spending a lot of time doing something on a daily basis and it's not bringing you money, or if it's not teaching you something, then what's the point? Right? I go back and forth with that because, see, me and you can talk about this. Like, you can watch a movie and you get ideas from it. Or maybe you use it to now talk about something on your podcast. So in some way, shape, or form, eventually you're going to start getting money from it, or that makes you feel good about yourself. Right? I'm not just sitting at home and I'm watching TV all day and I'm not doing anything to contribute to anything. So you get an idea from a show that you watched, and now you talk about it on your podcast. But here and there, you throw out little knowledge, you throw out little things, right? You grab somebody else's attention. Versus somebody that's just consuming media all day and is not doing anything with a little bit of information. Right? You learn from Shark Tank, you learn how to invest. Now you know how to invest, or I mean, not how to invest, how to maybe sell your idea, right? You know, so you learn from it. And I also believe that if you're watching something, regardless of what it is, unless if you're watching porn or something crazy, right? Then again, technically, you can kind of learn from porn, but that's besides the point. I don't watch porn.
I'm just gonna slide that
yeah,
or
please.
whatever.
Erase that. I feel like if you're watching something, you can try to find something to learn from. You know, I watched this thing about McDonald's and their story, right? And it was pretty much the right place at the right time. The person that owns McDonald's now, I don't know if he died or not, but he wasn't the person that actually started it, right? He pretty much kind of bought them out. But he was in the right place at the right time, and he met a lawyer who told him, instead of you selling the franchise, why don't you sell the land that they are on? So now they're buying the franchise, they're also buying the land from you, right? So there, I learned about, okay, that's something you can put into business, right? Instead of just trying to sell what's on the face, you can sell what's beneath. You know, stop trying to sell the shirt, maybe now you can sell the material from it. You know, so even now when I watch something, I'm not just boring and watching teachings all day. I can watch something and still try to learn from it. Somebody else might not be open-minded enough to learn that. They might just learn, okay, you know, they started making cheeseburgers and fries and that's it. You know, so even if you're watching a lot of stuff, if you're watching something, try to learn something from it. Make sure it's something that's beneficial that you can use.
Okay, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I'm just trying. What I'm trying to say is, like, there are some things where just doing them or just experiencing them can be fulfilling in its own. Where it's not like you have to put a dollar value on it, because like sometimes it's the purity of the act itself.
Yes.
Like it's like some people say find a job you love and you never have to work a day in your life, or it's like find a hobby that you can make money off of. I'm like, at that point it ceases being a hobby and it just becomes a second job.
Okay.
And it's like you write poetry because it's a creative release, and then all of a sudden by the time you start putting deadlines on it because you need to put it out there for public consumption, or because you're trying to get money from it, and then not only may your work suffer, but it's like you lose the joy that made you begin in the first place. So it's like, I get why you want to make sure like you have worthwhile pursuits in terms of the pursuit of knowledge or something that will enrich you financially. But I feel like there's also a value attached to this is something that brings me joy just because I'm able to do it.
I agree with that, and you should do that because you have to be healed before you can heal others, right? Okay. So if you're doing something that satisfies you mentally or that helps you mentally, yes, you should do that, right? If you're doing just because, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, right, I'm talking about us as a whole, not just individuals.
So societally, this is something where if we, as a collective, we should focus more on things that can enrich not just ourselves but enrich others.
Absolutely. Okay. Because that's the only way we're gonna get changes.
I definitely agree with you on that. All right, so this segment, this segment right here is the what the fuck story of the week, and we've had some very some stories. Well, if I hadn't read them myself, I would not have believed they happened. So
like the donkey of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So the first one that we're going to get into is, all right. So like I said, we've known each other for a long time, and we've actually worked together. I don't know if you can remember the two places that we've worked together twice. Do you remember where?
Burger King.
Yeah.
For sure, that's one. Don't tell me the second one.
Burger King. That was back. Do you know what year?
Of course. Hold on. 2005. 2006.
2006.
Yes. Because I worked for Wendy's in 3 years, and then I went to Burger King. Don't judge me.
Yeah. So Burger King. And where's the second one? Well, I didn't work there for long.
I want to. Don't tell me. Like, let me wait to the end. I don't know.
It was
I feel
up.
like it's right there.
It was up in Oradell.
Verizon? No.
Yes.
No way. Oh my god. Wow. I can't remember that.
Yeah. That was when
Wow.
Fios was just coming out.
You
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
I put you on?
Yeah. But
Damn.
we like when this is when you had,
I remember that time.
was it the Camaro or
I had the Galant.
was
white.
it the one?
I had the Galant white and another
Yeah, that's
car.
the one with the bra on the
Yes.
yeah
No,
on
well,
the
no.
lights, right?
I had the Camaro and I think I had the Galant.
Yeah.
I've always kept a few cars. You know, you have to
Yeah.
be fast guessing.
Okay. Yeah, so Verizon. Yeah, so I didn't.
Why didn't you? I forgot.
Bro, I don't do sales, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, at some point I'm gonna do a podcast on my strangest jobs because I know I don't do sales, and yet I always end up in sales jobs. So the reason why I brought up like the jobs we work together because this
Damn, I forgot
this
about that.
WTF story is about. All right, so this guy he was driving for one of these food delivery companies, and he had his homeboy with him because you know what, I'm not dealing with passengers, so I'm like, my boy can roll with me while I'm
when I
going.
deliver or whatever.
Yeah. So he apparently in one of these things you can see what the tip is going to be. They can put in the tip before you even
Advance.
deliver. Yeah.
Man, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. That's what I thought. So the guy is going to the place, and it's like a 30-minute drive to go drop off the food. And
So it's food or groceries?
food. No, this was food. Like
Cooked meal.
yeah, cooked meal. So and they saw that it was going to be an 86-cent tip for a 30-minute drive.
Wow.
So the guy gets there, and he's about to go deliver the food, but his boy is in the car with him, and the guy says he takes the food contains salsa, so there's a container of salsa, and gives the boy the phone to record, and he dips his balls.
Wow.
He dips his balls in the salsa, and they actually record it. And not only that, like that wasn't dumb enough. They posted on Facebook. They posted on
Here's
Facebook.
my thing. Okay, I have to ask.
Mhm.
What race?
You already know.
Yeah, like
You
I don't
already know.
understand. Why do we snitch on ourselves? Why do you record and then post it on social media? Like, why are you even doing that in
So
the first
that,
place?
that's like this generation. Like it's not. I wouldn't even say this generation. It's like this day and age.
It's
Like
the satisfaction of
like,
people looking
what,
at
it's
it.
like it's so much dry snitching going on. Like it's not like somebody was recording from outside and posted it. You posted it, and
So that lady ate the balls also?
I'm assuming.
That's
Like
disrespectful.
yeah.
So
So
do jail time for that.
yeah, no. So that was part of the story. Like the obviously.
So it's his boy that did his balls.
Yeah, it's not
What
even
an
the person
idiot.
driving.
What an idiot. But that one is gonna be what is it called?
Yeah, but
Accomplice or what is
well,
that
it
word?
wasn't necessarily an accomplice because
You didn't
it
know
wasn't
about it.
considered that serious. Of course, he knew about it. He was on recording.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
If I'm a cop, both of y'all going down.
Yeah. So, but
Because you enabled it. You could have stopped it.
he lost the job,
Without
obviously.
a doubt.
Obviously. But then the other guy went to. He was because the video was seen, like they recorded it, so he had to go to trial. And the first thing that made me laugh about the story was he pleaded not guilty.
Dude, you're on camera, dipping your balls in sauce.
He pleaded not guilty, and obviously he was convicted, like tampering with food or whatever.
Dude, you show yourself you were your own eyewitness.
Right, and it was tampering with food, and then when he was being sentenced, he couldn't stop laughing in front of the judge. I'm like,
Was he like sick? or something?
no, he just thought what he did was really funny.
It is funny until you're in jail.
Yeah, and so it's like that. So it's like, so if let's say we were working together, and you
No, hell no. I don't even want to know where this story is gonna go. Let me let you finish.
So my first question is, if that's your job on the line, would you even consider I mean, understandably they were upset because it was a 30-minute drive for an 86-cent tip or whatever. That's a story for another day, like tipping and whatever. But B, would you actually hold the camera while I dip my balls in sauce?
Wow, this just took a turn. Hell no. What? I would never allow something like that to happen. There's no way. Even when I worked at Wendy's and Burger King, right?
Mhm.
I never did anything to disrespect somebody's food. I genuinely believe if you do something like that, it's gonna happen to you. It's just wrong. Like, you know, no, I would not be holding the camera while another man dips his balls in sauce. That's just not my kind of fun. right? And what was the first question?
And
Would I do
like,
that?
like the fact that it's your job on the line in the first place is like,
This is dumb. Both of them are dumb, honestly. Let's put it that way. It's that simple. My job on the line, I wouldn't let somebody do that. And two, at the end of the day, they know the job they're signing for. The tip is not mandatory, right? So you shouldn't even expect a tip. If it comes, then appreciate it. Yes, I get it. 86 cents is small, but you know the job you took in the first place.
I'm just wondering, like, how far they had to, like, why was it so far? Like, 30-minute drive? Like,
30 minutes is not bad, man. Honestly,
to drop off someone's food?
that's your job.
No, but bro, like, usually these restaurants are like,
Close.
don't they have like a radius?
They have a
Yeah,
range,
that
right?
should cover it.
Nah, maybe you pay extra, man.
Maybe, I don't know.
Pay extra, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's your job.
That's your job.
You know what you're signed
Yeah.
up for. Even if you got a job hour to deliver, that's your job. They tip you, they don't tip you, that's your job. You don't like your job, you quit. But don't make other people's life miserable.
Right.
Now somebody's eating nut sauce. Salsa. Nut salsa. Nut salsa.
I saw that story. So then another story that really stuck out to me was, don't even ask me how I ended up on this. You know, when you're searching for one thing and one thing leads to another, and you just end up like just looking for content for the podcast, and it had to do with this guy who donated sperm to a lesbian couple.
There we go.
And so how did he find them? He was responding to an ad on Craigslist, and he basically gave his sample. The guy was married, by the way, but he just
donated sperm.
yeah, he donated sperm, but he had no interest in having kids.
Does his wife know?
Yes, his wife knew.
Okay.
And he donated sperm to a lesbian couple, signed away all his rights, whatever. I think they gave him like $50 or something, for his trouble, whatever. Like,
to donate to sperm $50?
yeah, because the way he saw it was as like he was
a giveaway.
He was doing like he thought of it as like a charitable gesture. Where it's like, this is a couple that wants to have kids, but they can't, like, they don't want to go through like
surrogate and all that.
Yeah, like
steps
whatever, like a fertility clinic or whatever that might cost a little bit more.
A lot more.
So it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this for them and go about my day. So he gives them the sample, and the insemination works. Like, the woman gets pregnant, and then they have the baby or whatever, and they go about their lives. Then the lesbian couple breaks up. Then the one who's with the baby, like, I guess she loses her job, and then she's on welfare.
Hell no. Don't tell me she's about to file for child support.
Yeah, she sues the guy for.
Wow.
She sues him for child support.
What?
Yeah, and this was in Kansas. So the thing is, they actually granted the request.
Because they didn't go. Let me let you finish.
So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that maybe they did that to kind of teach a lesson and teach other people a lesson because they want you to go their way to doing something like that.
So yes and no. So the thing is, not necessarily that they want you to go like through the expensive way, but they want you to do it under the supervision of a medical professional.
Oh, so how did they do it?
Dog, like turkey baster and all that, like sample into a container and reinsert.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
I thought maybe they did.
They did it like old school, like roll up. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing. So it was like completely renegade. So what was listed on the thing was like, because it wasn't like according to Kansas state law, it has to be done under the care of a medical professional. Like
all that stuff is controlled.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like they want you to do it according, but a couple years later, that judgment was overturned on appeal. So it's like he finally got his life back. Like all because he nutted in a cup and gave it to them, and they were trying to stick him for 18 years. So the thing is, she didn't even sue her partner for child support.
Even
she sued the biological part, like,
because technically you can't. Can you sue your partner?
Absolutely.
Same sex for that kind of situation?
Absolutely.
Even though the baby.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you can in America. You can sue.
Yeah, but she was like, nah, forget.
Nah, that's messed up.
Forget Abby over here.
She should be punished for doing something like that. I think that.
But I mean, she felt like that was her only recourse because
she was broke.
Yeah, and I mean that was and then the last story I want to touch on was another. Before people start thinking that it's only sperm related stories we have, this one was sent to me. someone sent me this story. It was about this guy called the Sperminator, who had he had basically donated his sperm to about 50 women.
Is there a movie about that? There's a movie like that. I think it's Vince Vaughn. He had a movie like. I'll continue.
Vince Vaughn. Is that the one where he was like a truck driver or something like that?
I don't know, but I know he like doing he had like 9 kids or something like that.
So this guy, he again donated sperm to a woman. Well, she had just turned 18, so I guess technically soon, and she was in a same-sex relationship as well. But she was homeless, so she was living in a homeless shelter. And that's basically what like brought the story back out to prominence, where this guy had like fathered all these children or whatever, and this woman was going to be like number 50, was going to have a child number 50, but he like is very upfront about how it's like you are not filing any paternity suit against me or whatever. And what makes it even weirder was the fact that she, like I said, she was in a homeless shelter so the thing was, it was like once she was pregnant, she was going to get housed all of a sudden because they wouldn't want the child to be born
Okay, that makes sense.
In a homeless shelter. So it's like some people now looked at it like maybe she was gaming the system or whatever.
I mean, as long as she takes care of the baby, I think that's okay too.
Right. But then so like the other mothers from this guy have like a community where they actually like came together and like did a baby shower for her. And so they actually like, what the thing about him is he's like, I forget what the culture is, but it's a culture known for like a lot of birth defects and like genetic abnormalities, and like, but he's out here just firing it off and like getting people pregnant. But the thing is, he doesn't like in a bathroom or just wherever.
So he has no control of himself.
No, it's just like he feels like he's like.
Trying to help increase the population.
He feels like
I might have glanced at that story.
Yeah, so he feels like he's doing his thing about like, you know, just helping people get.
But he makes them sign a contract.
Yeah, like you're not suing or anything. But he's like, he feels he's doing a good thing. Like so like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. That's not. I would never want my seed out there without me taking care of it, or him or her. That's just me. I wouldn't want to donate sperm to any woman that I wouldn't be able to take care of the kid. I just can't do that. I just don't see how a part of you can be out there and you have no interaction with them. I don't think that makes any sense. But would I ever do it? I don't think so. I just can't. I just feel like there's an attachment that comes to having a kid. But then again, a lot of people out here who don't really care about their kids.
Right.
But me as a person, I can speak for myself, and I wouldn't do that.
So what about, okay, because he's doing it, as he said, as a form of charity where he feels like he's helping people. So what about under that condition? Would you consider it then?
Would I consider donating my stuff for charity?
Yeah.
No, man.
Oh, okay. So then what about if there's like, what if they're paying you for it?
No. How much you gonna give me? $50 like the other?
No. I mean like someone seeks you out because
they know I got the good juice.
If that's how you want to word it, sure. But like they see you like physically as the type that they would want to like have in their, like they want you as part of their gene pool, or mentally they like where you are mentally as well. So they just see you as who, like they want your genetic makeup in whatever child they want.
Yeah, like that sounds good, and I agree. I agree. Like I it sounds good, but I can't do that. Yeah, I just
5 racks.
That's nothing.
10 racks. How high would they have to go?
Nah, bro, you gotta pay me like for you to just pretty much take my kid and go do whatever you want now. It's a lot of money, man.
How high are we talking?
I don't know. Honestly, you're gonna have to give me millions, and I got to be part of this kid's life.
So, but then wouldn't the whole fact that they're paying you is
so not part of the life? Yeah, I can't do that. Like just give away a part of me, and then not have. Yeah, I just can't. I don't even see how people can do it, but I know people do.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's. I'm not saying that I have, and I'm not even gonna go into what I was searching that led me down.
So would you do it?
Hell no.
Okay. So you here interrogating me about it.
Hell no.
Nah, I wouldn't do that, man.
I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, man, there's a part of you out there, and you have no control of what's being done. Because people can say all those positive things. Oh, we want your gene, you're a good dude. But then you still don't know what they're gonna do at the end of the day.
I
wouldn't know.
I just wouldn't feel like, because it's like at some point that child is gonna
Be curious about
like where's the second half of my genetic makeup, like and then that's just a whole nother thing. That's so nah, that's not something I would even consider. All right,
Unless
unless what celebrity?
No, I'm good. But remember, there was this billionaire that offered Jay-Z and LeBron and Serena, right? I do get that, but that would be a good combination.
No, but then that's just breeding. That's your trading.
Breeding. But
Yeah,
that's what they do now. Look at the food people eat. They're breeding these animals.
No, but so not only do you want two married people to leave their spouses and procreate just for you, like if that's not like slave master behavior, I don't know what else is.
Actually, you're right. That is exactly the same as
because think about this also. Unless they're going to take like the fertilized egg out or whatever, I don't know how that's.
But that's easy.
Like, do they want like Serena to carry the baby to term?
No, they'll probably take her eggs or whatever.
They
might take her eggs, take his sperm, and have a surrogate.
Yeah, like that's just like
Yeah, nah, that's definitely like.
And then that child is just what's gonna happen with that child again? What, you're gonna experiment on the child?
Yeah, that's what they'll probably build from that. Yeah, that's what
next thing you see like super clones out there, and nobody will know where they came from. Nah, that's the fact that you even have the audacity to mention it. Like,
that's what happens when you got money. Yeah, you got money, you're rich, and you have that I can overpower you, or that slave mentality, quote unquote. I should be able to tell you what to do when I got all this money. That's right. But you even be able to say that.
Yeah, like the audacity to even mention it. Like I don't get it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so there was the most recent one, and this will be the last one of the WTF, was about the guy who did the public proposal. I don't know if you saw it, where he's like kneeling. Well, it's been a rash of like videos like this of public proposals where people are like
going bad.
Yeah, videos going bad where but this guy in particular, he's like kneeling. Like when the video starts, he's kneeling, and she's like shaking her head, and
that's when you should know.
And so, but then it looks like she's like in shock. Like, oh, I can't believe it. And but he has like there's a professional camera. Like there's even like someone with a boom mic, like what they're using, like a TV production. And
that's nothing new though.
No, but that's like the thing. Like that's what people are doing these days, where they're like putting this whole thing out there, and then I think the person with the microphone was the person who heard everything first, because everybody else is still like happy, but he just starts looking down, and he's like turning the mic away. So I'm guessing he could hear what she was saying, and she was saying no, and he's still looking up at her, and he's like, wait, so you mean you're really saying no? And she just walks away. And everybody just walk, and I'm like,
it's legit. It's not like a prank or anything.
But that's the thing. That's also a thing. But
there's official ones out there.
Yeah, she looks like she. And what someone else told me was like, the guy had apparently been cheating on her, and he was now trying to use this as the way of like.
So here's my thing on that, right? I think sometimes men, because they know women like the idea of marriage. Let me not say women. Some do. We can't say all. Right? Some women like the idea of marriage, they feel like, okay, yeah, I've been messing around, or I've been messing up. Let me just propose to her in a sweet romantic place, all the crowds, blah, 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 roses, get on my knees. And that will make her say yes, and then I can kind of have her and, kind of hold her hostage, kind of. But if she don't want to be there, technically you're holding her hostage. Then I can kind of use that to hold her. So I think men do that. With his situation, there's no way you should be proposing, to my opinion. You should never propose to a woman unless you're sure she's going to say yes. If I propose to a woman and she says no, I'm never asking her again, straight up.
Okay, so this was like, it just came to me now, but it's like, so do you feel like that's the end of the relationship right there?
I think they can come back from that. If his ego is not too bruised, they can come back. Because at the end of the day, the women control a lot of things. So obviously, if he fixes things or he makes it up to her, then I feel like they can come back from that.
Okay, so I'm not even talking about him specifically. I'm talking about like if a woman's like, if you propose and a woman says no, is that automatically the end of the relationship in your mind?
Oh, for me, absolutely. If I propose to you and you say no, it's a wrap.
Well, why though? Like,
because the way I am, right? Before I would even propose, it's like, it's kind of like, so one, I hate rejection. I've always hated rejection, right? So in order for me to propose to you, that means I must love you. I must have been with you for a while. I must see a wife in you, right? For you to now say, for you to even say no means I was wrong all along because I'm thinking she's gonna say yes, right? And then you turn me down. Nah.
But then,
and that's we're speaking like if I've been a good boyfriend, right? I've been a good dude, treating you good, right? And you say no, and I don't even know why. And even if you tell me why, it don't matter. It's over after.
No, but so then, isn't that just like you assuming that everyone is working on your timeline?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Like so you're like, okay, we've been together 2 years. I propose. What if she's simply just not ready to be your wife at that time?
Agreed. But here's why. Here's where people need to be smart and know their partners, right? You might not ask them bluntly, do you want to marry me? But these conversations have been had, indirectly or directly.
Yes.
You should know if she's ready for marriage or not.
Yes, and that is one of the things I discussed when I mentioned the story the first time, where the proposal should be the only surprise there, not the fact that you want to get married.
Yeah.
No, but then so it's like, well, okay, so let's say you've had conversations about marriage, and you get a good sense. Okay,
and
like
she still says no. That's why it's over.
Okay, in that point, because it's like, what was she just lying to you during the conversation?
And that's what I'm saying. Like whatever, if you say no, and me being like a dude that pays attention to a lot, right? So if I'm thinking, yo, she's gonna say yes, we've had conversations, she's been kind of leading me towards the yes, and she says no, not only are you rejecting me, you're also letting me believe that I don't know what the hell I've been assuming about you or concluding about you all along. So I'm getting hit from different corners.
So, but couldn't that also just be like, you want confirmation bias to the fact because you already know what you want your answer to be. So whenever you have that conversation, you're just hearing what you want to hear.
Yes. Yeah. You're hearing the issue.
Everything that you're mentioning, you're just saying, okay, so she hasn't said no, so that's a yes.
That's a yes.
So it's like,
We're good.
Yeah, and then you just get closer and closer to the date, and then all of a sudden, and then she's like, bruh, I still told you I still want to go to med school, and why are you proposing to me now? Or some shit like that, where you just like, where you basically you built it up in your head to the point where you're like, okay.
I mean, so here's it. Like me, right? Personally, I just wouldn't propose unless I know she's gonna say yes. And if obviously I'm not perfect, let's say for some reason she does say no, I definitely I'll just let it ride right there. No, I think definitely for sure I'll be hurt. I can honestly say that I would have to get over it. Like I would have to get over my ego, what's that other word? Ego and something else. That's something that a lot of men have. Ego and something.
Bravado?
It's not bravado. Pride. Yes.
Only men have pride?
No. I'm saying, we have a combination of both. Like, obviously women have it too.
Okay.
But I would have to get over both to move on. But that's not going to be easy for me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing about any rejection. Like, nobody likes rejection.
Some people don't care.
Yeah. Some people.
All right, good. Move on to the next
volume shooters. Yeah, but it's like the fact that you made that commitment. It means, like you said, you've seen a wife. So just the fact that it's not happening on your schedule shouldn't mean you turn away.
See, now if she says yes, right? First of all, I wouldn't do something like a big public place, right? Not because of the rejection, just because I don't really care about the public views or whatever like that, right? Let's say, damn, I just lost my train of thought. Let's say, if she says, yes, right now, but later on she's like, okay, even though I said yes, I still want us to at least accomplish these things before we get married, that's fine. But if you just tell me that, shut me down, no, I just feel like it doesn't matter how you say it, right? If you say no, I'm not ready for this, blah, 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 then it's kind of like you just dismissing everything, or dismissing my feelings, blah, blah, blah. Versus, yes, I'll marry you, but I think that you should maybe hold off until I finish med school.
So what about what about if she just you're saying she's dismissing your feelings, but what about you dismissing her response? Like she's like, no, I'm not ready for this right now. Like because you're trying to do this once and that's it. Like that is the goal when you're going into it.
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, we're in a relationship together. We should know how to talk to each other, right? This is somebody you're trying to marry. So if you're telling me you want to turn me down because you're still waiting till you finish school, whatever the case may be, you are somebody that says you love me. You should know how to tell me that without hurting my feelings, right?
Yeah, but now you're centering yourself in this thing where you're like,
But then
so you're like not, so you're saying not only am I going to control how you reject me, like
right, I'm
first
controlling.
of all, I don't want the rejection. But if you must reject me, this is how you will do it, and that's.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I think if you care about somebody, you should be careful on how you say things to them.
Yeah, but then you also have to consider the position you're putting that person
In the first place.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
Like.
We can agree
Yeah.
to disagree, kind of.
Yeah, because like the person just has to be like, okay,
Able to get it out.
this is also a decision. This is a forever decision to make. Whereas like I don't want to go into this and then have a broken engagement. Although a broken engagement is better than a broken marriage.
Okay.
But it's like, how about we just chill till we actually both want it at the same time? Why is that a bad thing?
But see, that sounds good, but it's not a no. It's kind of like a yes with contingencies, right?
Well, why does it have to be a yes?
Yes.
Like, because in that instance, you're the only one getting what they want.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Like,
right.
shouldn't you want that to be a mutual decision?
Listen, man, we're the ones that have to pop the question, yes?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Nah,
So,
but there's some girls out there
that
like
pop the question.
Yeah.
It's a few, though. It ain't that much.
Yeah, I mean.
That's just.
Okay, all right. So now, how would you feel if a girl popped the question?
I wouldn't say no if she did. I wouldn't say. I mean, wait, no. But first of all, I pick whoever I'm dating. I spend years.
No, but that's so like I'm just talking about like the prospect of it happening. Like,
How would I feel?
Yeah.
It is what it is. If this is somebody that I would marry, I'll say yes.
so regardless of whether you're ready at that point, like just the fact that she goes down on her knee in public.
Yeah, I think knowing me, I'll probably do it
Just
because
to save
just to not,
face.
because I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings like that, man. Before you know it, you know, to tell you, yeah, I'm out. Yeah, I think I would. If it's somebody that I would marry, I think I would do it, and then I'll probably, yeah, I think I would do it.
So then you're walking around with the ring on your finger.
And she's not.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I mean, I didn't think that far ahead. I didn't think that far ahead, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'll probably do it. If it's somebody that I would marry anyway, I think I would.
Okay. Yeah. Me personally, if I see
When you're
like,
getting
I'm
down on one knee.
I'm getting down on my knee too. Like,
Like, nah.
like no, both of us are getting. Nah.
I wouldn't even know what the hell's going on if she starts getting down.
Nah, because not like she's tying a shoelace or nothing. Like,
Yeah.
nah,
I wouldn't.
Nah, I'm just.
I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
If something else happens. But I don't think I'll say it. If I'm with you, you know, yeah. Let's not get into that. That's a whole nother topic. But I wouldn't say no. Unless if she's freaking crazy.
I'm not even gonna touch that.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's been real fun having you here, man. I really appreciate you coming through, and
Thank you, man. Pleasure's all mine. I really appreciate your time.
yeah. So I mean, at some point, I'm gonna try and have like a roundtable with more of the guys, and then we'll get more into this basketball stuff because
Yeah, I don't know. too much about
y'all be talking a lot of trash about LeBron, but you know, especially you new Golden State fans
Listen, man.
who didn't know anything about Steven Jackson or you know the Baron Davis days, but you know
I know
we'll
Baron
let
Davis.
We'll let that go.
Like you.
Wow, that narrows it down. That narrows it down greatly.
I know
the black
Baron
dude.
Davis.
Yeah.
I know Baron Davis.
But
Him I
yeah,
know.
I appreciate you coming through and doing the podcast. Like this is like the length of like 4 podcast episodes already in one, but we had a lot to get to, and I really appreciate this, man. Like I said, this is what I wanted to do from the beginning, where it's just like a conversation happening, where it's just not me droning on. Like, I mean, I like the sound of my voice, but I don't like it that much. Yeah, but
Good
it's
conversation, you know?
like, yeah, so
Put your
I appreciate
brain
you
working.
coming through. Yeah, exactly. Because there's some situations where it's like I might not even think of it because it's just me. It's like me checking myself within a thought, and that I don't know for a lot of people, but that's not how it works for me. So it's like bouncing ideas off of someone. It usually gets me to a different place where I'm
Yeah.
thinking about something else. All right, so thank you all for listening to the Well Actually podcast. Remember, please subscribe, rate, and review, however you get your podcast. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. And yes, this episode will be available on YouTube. So yes, we're finally back on YouTube.
I'll put it on mine too.
Yeah, and where can they find you on YouTube?
So YouTube, you can search LL Cool JUWON. No, excuse me, LL Cool space JUWON. Or follow me on Instagram, LL Cool JUWON, and you can click on my profile link in my Instagram. It takes you straight to my YouTube.
All right. again, I really appreciate you coming through, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Alright, and the next episode is going to be something even stranger than this one. I guarantee that. Alright, so we'll talk to you next week.